Good morning, good morning. How are you guys doing today? Nice to have you. I'm glad to be back. Had my power go out. Was out for over a day. And then we used our generator kicked in automatically, which it always does, but then we were using too much energy inside the house apparently. And it flipped the breaker and breaker switch, and somehow the switch wasn't working 100%. So when we switched it back on, it still wasn't giving power. Needed to be jiggled back and forth. So we're back up and running. It's nice to have power. Man, when you don't have power, you really miss it, don't you? When you have no electricity, you really realize just how much you need it. Anyways, we're back, and it's nice to be back with you guys. Hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet. If you're interested in analysis that you won't find anywhere else, if you want a completely different perspective on the markets, one that you will not see from any other sources, we're here for you. Okay, good, good. So let's, what do you guys want to discuss? I know what I want to discuss. I want to discuss some of the big data that was reported on Friday, or recorded to on Tuesday last week and released on this past Friday. Some pretty significant numbers. I was looking at the S&P 500, for instance, and I couldn't help but notice this big decline here. Look at that. Okay, look at long positions. We basically went from 360 and 348 to 266,000. That's massive. That's massive profit taking. Okay, now did they add some to their shorts? Yeah, 313 to 345. Not a huge amount, but significant. And this came on the 26th, right? So when we look at the S&P 500 and we look at the 26th, put our cursor or put our crosshairs on it, 26, right here. 26 was here. And the previous week's data was 19. So all this here, this slow, creepy, crawly move was the banks offloading positions, okay? So they offloaded a significant portion of their long positions. So does this mean that the market's going to collapse? No, it doesn't mean that. They're profit taking. You saw all the articles recently about Warren Buffett going to cash, liquidating a lot of his positions and going into cash. Does this mean the market's going to drop? No, it doesn't mean it, okay? But we should be cautious. Obviously, we're not just going to trade and not take these things into consideration. Now, in our latest level 3 class, I was talking about something very specific that was playing out on all the time frames, and how we've gotten to the end of the road, basically, with buying. And this is where we're at right now, okay? No, thank you. This is where we're at right now. So what we're waiting for is new buying to come into the market. Okay, new buying has to come into the market, because relying on previous buying that was created and then coming back into play has worn out. Okay, we've used all those avenues. What do I mean by that? Well, this is what I mean by it. On the monthly chart, they came in with significant buying. They dropped into it and rallied. On the weekly chart, they came in with significant buying. They dropped into it and they bought. On the daily chart, they came in with significant buying. They dropped into it and they bought. On the 2-hour chart, they came in with significant buying. They dropped into it and they bought. Okay, so 2 hours, the lowest time frame I go specifically when I'm looking at doing multiple time frame analysis and determining, you know, the time frames that buying and selling is taking place on the charts. 2 hours usually where I stop at. So now we need new buying to come into play, okay? Because this whole cycle can start all over again, where there's big institutional buying on a higher time frame. medium time frame, short time frame, and so on. But what we need to see is some significant buying taking place. And so what we just witnessed by looking at the CFTC data is that this push up here was institutions taking profits, okay? Again, if I take my mouse cursor and I put it over here, that's October 1st, okay? The month of October. So let's look at October here. This is the month of October, 310 to October 29, okay? That's that whole month of October basing. What do we see? 310 to 366, that's accumulation of a long position. So we can confirm that this here is accumulation, all right? They're buying. Now, yes, they were taking profits on some positions here on this rally up, but price still went up. If we get one more bar, okay, pushing up of momentum, then we could have an institutional buying zone here, just like we had it down here. Okay, right here. When you examine this, this was institutional buying. They pushed it up, they brought it down, as you could see, and then they continued with their buying. So if we get another push up here, another close like that, this could be institutional buying, or this will be institutional buying, and we could see this drop in, rally, and then this take place on the other time frames as well. So things are looking pretty good here for a continued move up. I would not be listening to anybody telling you otherwise. There's going to be a lot of articles out there and a lot of people telling you that, you know, there's signs that the market could drop 20% and all sorts of stuff. I've read so many things. As long as the trends are holding and as long as institutions are buying and we can see proof of that, that's all we go by, all right? Now, the first sign of this breaking down would be on the chart where institutional buying was taking place. Institutional buying was taking place right here, okay? And we've been making new highs ever since, right? If we look back here, the previous high was here. So we have institutional buying that's coming in here. And we also have, let's see, not the greatest for a trend line, I could tell you that. But I would be looking at something like that. Okay. Set an alert once per bar. There. That's what I'd be watching for. So if this breaks, if that ascending trend line, which is not the greatest quality, it's not high quality, meaning in terms of trends being formed by the institutions on a lower time frame, they're not really focused on doing that, all right? So if price was to come down, break that trend line, we're opening up the chart for a move lower here, okay? Where would it be moving to? Probably to the back down to this trend line here on the daily chart. Okay. And if that was to break, you know, we have already a tested area of demand that would break. It would be a whole domino effect. Okay. Because if this breaks here, this comes down to the trend line. If the trend line breaks here, it can drop down to this here. This has already been tested. So all the demand that was there has been eaten up. It's been absorbed. So this would likely break and cause a drop down here, okay? Unless price drops, takes out demand, and then reverses off of a already tested area, only because new buying comes into play. And we would only really know that by examining the CFTC data and seeing that new buying coming into play. We'd also be able to see it on the charts by doing our analysis and locating the supply and demand that is coming into the market. So, but as far as how things are looking right now, things are looking super strong, okay? Let's go through some of the other numbers and see if anything really sticks out. The numbers just came out yesterday because of the holiday, so they didn't have the numbers come out on Friday. So What sticks out here? Well, the biggest one for me was that the S&P right here, 222. And that's because of mostly profit taking on longs and some addition of shorts. I see US CAD is also bearish. And we have the US dollar Japanese yen bearish as well. And besides that, nothing really big. Pound was a little bit bearish. US CAD, how's she looking? Let's take a look. All right, so what have we been looking at for quite some time? If we go to the US CAD, I haven't transferred the numbers in, but I could do that now with you. By doing this, US CAD, plugging in the latest data, just like this, and like that. So what do we see with the numbers? So looks like they start taking profits on long positions. Good. This is what we've been talking about. Haven't we been talking about this? Haven't we been saying this for the longest time, that they need to take profits on their long positions? 207. Maximum size was 219,000. So they had to take profits on long positions. So they've done that. And it looks like between the 19th and the 26th. And that was that big rally up. 19th and the 26th up. And then they took profits on their long positions. So what's happened since? We saw a drop from that area. And where did we contact? This area here. Remember what I wrote here in this zone? If removed, it opens up for a break of the daily demand zone. So far it's holding. And it's moving up. Let's take a look at retail positions, shall we? Last time we checked, they were at 89%, 13K, and now we're at 92 at 14. Wow. They are really not letting go, are they? That's phenomenal. 92%, 14K. They're still holding. Retail positions are still holding up there. Interesting. Well, I personally am not interested in going short this one until this zone is to break. If this zone breaks and I see that the data is showing me continued profit taking on long positions and an accumulation of a short, then I'm interested after that zone breaks. Okay. But this is something that I've been watching for a while and mentioned it to members as well. Other than that, gold, a little bit bullish move in their positions. And that's really the only thing that sticks out. Let's take a look at the US dollar Japanese yen. Yeah, we forecasted that move. We forecasted that move. Watch move down from here. Look at that. Hit supply, dropped. Hit demand, rallied. Hit supply, dropped. Hit demand. What do you think is going to happen now? Short-term move to the upside. Likely. Okay? So you see it's just supply, demand, supply, demand. This is how the markets move. Okay? From one zone to another. So we're now inside demand. So pressure to the upside. Okay. So if there's going to be pressure to the upside, US CAD likely going to follow suit with some pressure to the upside. Okay. And then we'll see what happens with retail positions, if they're going to offload them with any push to the upside or not. But I'm holding steady until that area gets taken out. But as for the US dollar Japanese yen, you know, it's hard to tell what's going to happen. Upside pressure, yeah, but for how long? We have demand here on the daily chart, so we may see something like that, okay? Up to that supply. May see it. Otherwise, we could just break this, new supply comes into the market, and price drops. But the bias is upward, because so far on the weekly chart, every zone that's prices come into play with, it has been holding. So it's very possible. Yeah, those both options are possible because of the type of zone. I won't go into details, but I'd be watchful of that. Okay. Okay, let's turn it to you. Any charts you guys want to look at? I got a busy day today. Gonna go watch the kids this morning with a Christmas concert that my wife put together. As you know, my kids are homeschooled, and there's a large Christian homeschooling community up here in Muskoka. Um, but like, when your kids are going to school, they usually at the end of the year put on the Christmas play, right? And but when you're homeschooled, who puts on the Christmas play? Nobody was putting on a Christmas play. So my wife was like, "How about I do it?" And that's exactly what she did. She got together with a bunch of other homeschool moms, and she put together a Christmas play. Uh, telling the story of Jesus. You know, not about Santa Claus. So I'm very proud of her for that. So she's been working for a long time. The performance was supposed to be on Sunday, but we had extremely bad weather. The highways were closed to come up, so people couldn't even get up here. So it was a bad situation. So we had to cancel that, and so the show is today. So I wanted to make sure I got a chance to go live with you guys before I went off to not participate, but to watch the performance and see all their hard work. It's amazing what the parents came to do. All the mothers from the Christian homeschool community, they got together, they built the sets, they created the costumes, they did everything. One of the church that we go to, two of the guys that work there, they said, you can use the church, you can use our stage, we'll do the lighting. They came in, two guys came in every single time they had practice. They did the lighting, they did the sound. Unbelievable. They're going to film it so it could be available for the parents that can't make it today. Just amazing how the community comes together. It's amazing how the community comes together. What I've witnessed here over the years with the Christian homeschooling community is that when people come together with one agenda, which is to enrich the lives of their children, to educate them, to give them the best life possible, it's unbelievable what they could do. You start to realize just how much you could just do things together with the community, right? You don't even need government. It's best to just let government be out of your business and just come with the community and create such a beautiful experience for the children. It's just amazing. Bitcoin. So what do we see short term? Short term selling. Okay, because supply is in play. Short-term selling. So I was mentioning this yesterday, I think, or probably not yesterday because I had the power mostly off. Anyways, last week maybe it was because this is the 4-hour chart. Let's see. Yeah, either yesterday or last week or over the weekend. Short-term selling come into play, so we're seeing that pressure to the downside. When we look at the daily chart, we do have a demand holding here. This is the latest area of buying. But if this were to get taken out, we could see a drop. I'd be very careful with Bitcoin. Over the years, after looking at Bitcoin, examining Bitcoin, seeing all the players, like Michael Saylor and talking about Bitcoin and the advantages of Bitcoin, all that stuff, I'm not sold at all. Okay, I think this is a huge bubble. I think, in the future, people will look back and talk about Bitcoin and how it was pumped and how it was used in the past. How, we've seen how Bitcoin was used to scam people. And I think it's a way that Bitcoin is going to be used by governments to control people. I'm sorry, but at one point it was you can't control it and it's decentralized and it's this and all this. It sounds beautiful, but at the end of the day, when you use Bitcoin, it's tracked. There's a ledger. It keeps track of what you do. Period. And now the government is starting to, you know, creep their little claws onto Bitcoin, and and now you have Michael Saylor saying, "Oh, it's a pretty good thing that the government will oversee it and stuff." Of course, it is. What do you think all the scams took place for? Why do you think all the Bitcoin brokers, or what do you call them? They went bankrupt. And how many people lost millions of dollars? Why do you think all that stuff happened? This Sam Bankman-Fried and all this nonsense. Why do you think all this stuff was happening? When you look at deep down into it, you could see it was all coordinated by very powerful people. And it was almost, it's to put fear in people. So people were like, oh, I guess it has to be managed by government. And then, there you go. Next thing you know, your life is being run by Bitcoin, and all your payments are being tracked and traced. It's nonsense. It's not backed by anything. Like, come on. It's like the ultimate tool for the government to track and trace all your spending. If all we could use was Bitcoin, and that's all we had was Bitcoin, everything you did would be tracked immediately the second you did it. All right? Anyways, there's so much more that they could do with Bitcoin that wouldn't be good. So I am not an investor of Bitcoin for a long period of time. No way. Like, would I buy a physical Bitcoin, or there's not even a physical Bitcoin, but an actual Bitcoin? Heck no, no. I'm not trusting any of these crypto banks, or whatever the hell you want to call it, and put my money with them. There's no way in hell. My money is with a broker that I trust, Interactive Brokers. It's insured. I know where my money is. I know who I'm dealing with. I'll make money and trade these future contracts. I don't mind that. I'll take trades on these future contracts and take advantage of the movements in the market while they're there. But I'm not putting my money in Bitcoin. That's for sure. So, on the higher time frames, we have demand that just came in. On the medium term time frame, we have demand that just came in, but price is very high up. I mean, it's overextended, man. I would not be buying Bitcoin up here. There's no way. And I know people are like, yeah, but it's, he said that it's going up to 500,000. He said that it's going up to a million. Okay, so what? So then buy it here, and then when it comes down to 68, you'll be like, why did I buy it at 100,000 when I didn't have to, right? You could have got like a much better deal. Don't buy up here. My personal advice, I would not be buying it up here. It's crazy. I would not be buying it up here. What are we drinking? Coffee. It's black coffee with grass-fed butter, no cream, grass-fed butter, and a little bit of just a splash of maple syrup. That's it. So I personally wouldn't be buying up here. I'd be waiting for it to drop down into institutional demand zones, and then I would be looking to buy. Sure, I'll hold it. You know, as long as everybody wants to buy it and push price higher, there's enough established price action in history for me to see that they've created a trend on the higher time frame. So since they've created a trend on the higher time frame, I'll take advantage of that trend, and I'll ride and make money on the way up using the futures contract. No way will I buy Bitcoin. Are you buying shares of the stocks you trade, or do you margin trade them so that you can take advantage of when the banks are buying and selling as well, so that you can make profits from both avenues? So I'm not understanding the question. Sorry. Can track it but cannot control Bitcoin. They're controlling Bitcoin, Ron. I've done a video on that. Of course, it's controlled. I know you're being told that they cannot control it. They control it. Okay? They do control it. They remember these guys, the largest banking institutions in the world, and those who control them, control the media. Okay? You notice how many times Michael Saylor has been on TV? You notice how many times he's been on TV? Who do you think gives him that airspace? You think he's just calling up the news station saying, "Hey, like I want to talk about Bitcoin because Bitcoin is really popular, and if you bring me on the show, I'll talk about Bitcoin, and everybody wants to talk about Bitcoin. So if you bring me on the show, I'll talk about Bitcoin, and that's what your viewers want." You think that's what's going on? That's not how it works. Okay? There's allotted spaces for speakers, and if they have an agenda to push forward, they're going to bring in their people that, you know, are going to say what they want them to say. Think about it. How many times have you seen somebody come on the show, say something controversial, and then continue to come on the show? It doesn't happen. You say something controversial that's against the bankers, and you're out. You're never seen on TV again. So if Bitcoin was really anti-government and they can't track you and then all that stuff and they can't control you and they can't, why would they allow him on TV all the time? Okay, just based on that, just based on that logic, why would they? They wouldn't. Okay, so they do control. The second they put Bitcoin in the futures market, they controlled the price of Bitcoin. Okay, before it was uncontrollable. Before it was uncontrollable. When you had to actually open up an account with a company that allowed you to buy Bitcoin, it was uncontrollable. And we could see in the history of what that looked like. The booms and the busts, people going crazy buying it and then selling, and then going crazy buying it and selling it. But once Bitcoin came into the futures market, right here, look what happened. How do you think price dropped so hard? Okay. I know why. Because it was introduced into the futures market and then they sold the hell out of it. They shorted the hell out of it. And, you know, we think, oh, the futures contract just represents the price of Bitcoin. Really? Or is it the futures contract is dictating the price of Bitcoin? You decide. Think about that. If all the selling pressure is coming from the futures market and pushing price down, the other asset's going to follow suit. Period. That's just how it is. And so look at the manipulation ever since. Look, it came down into an institutional buying zone. This is the last area of institutional buying right here. Okay. Up, straight back down to the buying zone. They bought again. Okay. And look how volatile, and look at how they've been controlling. Okay. Look, I've been tracking this for a while. What the news says, what the markets do. What the news says, what the market. It's being controlled. Whether you like it or not, it's being controlled. I'm sorry, but that's the bottom line. So Zach, I'm not sure about your question. Are you buying stocks or are you margin trading them? Opening up buy and sell positions? No, I don't open up buy and sell positions. I buy stocks. I'm buying the stocks. I'm not opening up buy and sell positions. No, I'm buying stocks. Okay. I used to do a lot of options trading, and that works pretty well. But what I don't like about the options trading is that a lot of times it could take a little bit longer for things to play out, and then you're losing your the value of your options. I didn't like that. Didn't like that at all. And I don't like having time constraints. And trading, just buying the stock is so much easier. Buy the stock, you know where your stop loss is. Like, it's just a lot easier. And I've been very successful with it. Um, let's see. You wanted to look at Nasdaq. Yeah, holding that trend line to a certain degree. It's somewhat doing the same thing, but not as the S&P. It's not as the institutional demand isn't coming in on the same time frames as the S&P. Okay, but it's still following suit. And the same thing with the Dow. The only thing that's similar is the daily chart with this area of buying coming in. Short-term buying. Not really. Okay. This is just this move up is just the leftovers of the buying that took place down here at the 43,000 area. All right. So I'd be just be careful. The S&P is what I'm really staring at here. We need to see new buying. So far we have demand being formed on the monthly, which is a good sign. It's just we need to see more buying. December's going to close, or we have 3.5 weeks until December. So we need December to rally. And what do we normally get? Santa Claus rally? Isn't that what they say? So this is looking good. And if we get that, if we get the rally into the new year, we'll have another bullish momentum candle on the monthly chart. And this will be prime for another move up. We may get some stalling action, February, we might see a drop, and then spring 2025, maybe summer 2025, boom, straight back up again. That's what's setting up here on the charts, okay? It's looking really good for that. Let me see. So yeah, Ron, sorry, but in the sense of media manipulation, yes, not in the way of its technical distribution. Okay, you think what you want to think. I prove differently. Okay, I am a supply and demand technical analyst master. That's my life. That's what I do. And in my opinion, there's nobody on this planet better at it than I am. And when I look at the supply and demand dynamics on the chart, I can tell you that I know what it looks like when the institutions control something. And the institutions are controlling this. They're controlling Bitcoin. Okay? And then you look at the news and you look at the headlines. It's obvious. To me, it's very obvious that they're controlling. And so just be aware of that. If I don't want you to be one of those guys that gonna turn all your money into Bitcoin because it's the next best thing. There's going to be a new revolution, a financial revolution. Don't fall into all those traps. It's all nonsense, in my opinion. It's all nonsense. Don't fall into those traps. But if you do, just remember I warned you. Just remember I warned you. You want to make money on it going up? Buy the futures contract, okay? You can make money on the way up. But just don't commit yourself to this because it's going to sting you badly. All right. So I don't think there's a future for Bitcoin, a bright future for humanity with Bitcoin. I don't. I'd like to see. There's other things that are bright future. Take down the Fed, audit them, put people in jail for manipulating the markets, make cash, bring cash back in, attach our currency to gold, and those would be a good start if you wanted to do things good. How about that? That's what the government can do. That's what people can do but as long as we're talking about Bitcoin being the future, we're not focusing on why what we have isn't good. Let's fix what we have because it could be good and not worry about all this other stuff. Good stuff, Ron. Yeah, don't disagree with you. Your analysis would also not buy it here. No, don't buy it here. Too high. Nope. What's with this? I am interested about this Monero. You guys heard about this? I posted a video. What's his face? That guy, McAfee. Is he dead? Did he die? Or did he get sent to prison? What happened to McAfee? I don't know. I spelled it wrong, I think. What happened to McAfee? John McAfee. On June 23rd, his lawyer confirmed that John McAfee died by suicide in his Spanish prison cell, just hours after a Spanish court ruled he could be extradited. Oh, he's dead. I don't think so. He's dead? The guy who loved life so much he decided to kill himself? I don't know about that. Well, he's not around anyways, right? That's too bad. Well, when you hear what he has to say, he was saying a lot of stuff. And he brought up this Monero. He said that this was something that he thought could be the future because it was private. He was talking about, I don't know about the technology. I mean, he was the master of it. So I was listening to him because he made a lot of sense when it came to a lot of things. He acted like a crazy person, at the same time. But I mean, when the government's chasing after you and you're forced to have to go in hiding because of tax evasion or whatever, because he didn't believe that the government should rape him of all his money, you probably not act 100% normal too, right? So I don't know. You guys know about this Monero? whether it's going to be something, because there's not really anybody talking about Monero I never come across Monero in the newspapers. I mean, let's just check. Look, Wall Street Journal, right? Let's type in Monero and hit enter. And it's going to search the whole newspaper for Monero. No matches were found. Interesting. Okay. How about we try Bitcoin? Enter. Oh, lots. How many though? One, two. Ooh, ooh. Wow, look how many times Bitcoin is written in the newspaper. Wow. Oh, that was quite a lot. What, 10 times? Monero? Not once. So, you know, that makes it interesting to me. That makes me want to investigate. So maybe there's something there, maybe not. I'm not sure. But I think it's interesting. I was watching a couple videos about it, and it looked pretty interesting. Like if you wanted to have, a digital asset or a digital currency or something to exchange back and forth, first of all, the value can't be going crazy because how could you be paid in something that, in 3 days time the value is going to drop so dramatically? Why would you want to? What would be the incentive for anybody to accept that as a form of payment? You receive the payment, next thing you know, 3 days later that money isn't worth the service or the 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 object or whatever you sold. Okay, the consumer good that you sold. So why would you do that? So it needs to be stable. So I don't know. I'd look into it and see, but you know, I don't know much about it. Gold, the last thing we hit was this supply up here on the weekly time frame. So pressure's been to the downside. What are they doing with their positions? Let's put gold here. Let's transfer their data. So let's see. It looks like a little bit of profit taking on long positions. And let's see. All right. So what do we see here? So consistent profit taking on long positions since October 22nd. So that's at the highs. Okay. And then we saw the drop. So that is what we were expecting. Profit taking 371. So they continue with profit taking. Look at this significant drop in short positions. Interesting. Probably to help stabilize price from the profit taking. So all they're doing right now is profit taking on long positions with gold. Okay. And so this is what's causing this to go into a range mode. So I wouldn't be interested in trading this at this point because they're profit taking. Why would I be a buyer if the banks are taking profits on long positions? I don't want to be the person that they're offloading their long positions to. Okay. They're getting rid of a position. Why would I want to be the guy taking that position off of them when they're getting rid of it? I want to be a buyer when they're buying. You know what I'm saying? All right. So I wouldn't be interested in this right now. Let's look at the euro. Let's look at their data. What have they been up to? Let's transfer it over. Euro and euro and here and here. And let's see. They're getting into short positions. Interesting. We've been talking about this. How there have been signs that price is going to be dropping, and this is pretty good. October 29th, they got aggressive, right? Down here at these lows here. Oh, wait a minute. Where was October 29th? Sorry, let's go back here. October 29th, shorts were aggressive. Yeah. That was here. This first drop. Got aggressive, then we got up, and now we're getting aggressive again with shorts, as we can see. 212,000. Maximum was 271. Could they continue? Sure they can. Coloration of the cells starting to turn a little bit red. Starting. Nothing too crazy, but starting. And we've seen evidence to support that price could indeed drop. What we were watching for was some kind of a rally up to contact some supply and then see if they were going to continue with their selling to push price lower. Because on the monthly time frame, there's room for price to drop down to the $1 mark. Okay, so we're watching for that. Let's look at pound as well. Yeah, yeah, it looks good. And look at that. We closed last week with a bullish momentum candle closing above the wick. That's a good sign for a continued move to the upside. So, short-term move to the upside, longer-term move to the downside, it's possible. Okay, pretty good odds of that. And we see the slow and steady increase here, 17 to 28.50. That was back in October. Then they declined, and then 742.56. So an increase in shorts again. So I wouldn't be interested in trading euro just yet. I would like to short it if it went higher. That's what I'd like to do. But we're going to wait and see if that's what's going to take place. All right. Somebody wrote martial law declared in South Korea. Are you serious? That's crazy. Can we look at INTC? What is that? Intel or Intuit or something? Intel. What about them? They're not doing good? I saw an article about it. Somebody, Intel CEO resigns as stock strategy falter. Yeah. Yeah, I would not be a buyer here. No way. And scapping down. There's no institutional buying areas have been taken out. Okay. In fact, this was all a setup from up here. Since 2021 July, there's been significant selling. That's been the main driving factor here. 2021. So whatever's happening with Intel, I don't know because I don't follow what they do very closely. But whatever they've been doing, there's been a setup for this drop for a long time. All right, INTC. Martial law declared in South Korea. That's pretty crazy. And read Dave Cocker. Coker. Opinion on crypto. Who's this guy? Anything interesting? There's no direct mention of Dave Cocker's opinion on crypto. What the heck? Retired investment banker and university lecturer with expertise in finance, fintech, but there's no specific mention of his opinion on cryptocurrency. Um, Dave Cocker has been buying Bitcoin every week for almost 10 years, indicating his confidence in the cryptocurrency. Is that what you wanted me to get out of it? Has been buying Bitcoin. He executes his purchases on a Friday morning and then sends the coins to his hardware wallet. Dave Cocker's opinion on Bitcoin is positive, and he seems to be a long-term believer in cryptocurrency. Okay, might find on Substack and Medium. All right, so he's a buyer. That I don't care if Donald Trump's a buyer. I don't care if I was gonna say something funny, but I probably shouldn't. I don't care who's a buyer of Bitcoin. I'm telling you, I don't trust anybody. I don't care whose opinion. I don't trust anybody's opinion. I trust my own analysis. That's what I trust. I trust me. I trust the hours that I put into my chart analysis to determine what is taking place. I trust the data, the real data that's being collected, the big institutions. I see what they're doing. I track their buying and selling on the charts. That's all I care about. I don't care what somebody's doing. I don't know if that guy likes taking on prostitutes. I don't know if somebody enjoys prostitutes and they've been set up, pictures were taken, and somebody approached them and said, "Hey, if you don't do this, we're going to reveal this information to your family and we'll destroy your life. So we want you to start doing this. I mean, stuff happens. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know why he's buying it. I don't know what his intentions are. He's buying an asset that's not backed by anything. The only reason why Bitcoin goes up is because other people buy it. What makes Bitcoin valuable is that other people are buying it. So if he thinks that's a good idea, then that's his way of thinking. I don't think that way. I wouldn't be buying something that doesn't have value. That's why most of my money is in my trading accounts, and they're invested in things that I think are going to go up in value. Because keeping money in a bank account is not going to serve me well. The value of my money is going to continue to drop. So why would I do that? I want the value of my money to go up. I want the value of what I accumulate to go up. So the only way to do that is to have it invested in things that I believe are going to go up in value. I wouldn't want to keep it in cash because cash is garbage. You know, you look at how they're devaluing our money. You go to the grocery store, things are more expensive. It's not because things are more expensive. It's because your money is not of any value anymore. It doesn't hold the same value. Houses go up because of that. Prices of gold go up because of that, right? It's the value of your dollar. What was it like? The United States dollar since 1913 or whatever has dropped 99% in value. How do you think that happened? The banking cartel has done it. They've done it. When you make so much of something, the value of it declines. So, I mean, Bitcoin, where's the value of Bitcoin? It's that other people will buy it. The reason why this guy is buying Bitcoin, okay, I don't know who this guy is, but the reason why he's buying it is because it's the same reason why I would buy gold, okay? Well, I'd buy gold for more than one reason, but it's the same reason why I would buy, let me think, SMCI, okay? For instance, I had a discussion with somebody on Twitter about SMCI. I posted SMCI, and I posted how they came out with really negative news. And I said, oh, how interesting they're coming out with negative news as price is dropping right into an institutional demand zone. And from my expertise of institutional buying and selling, I know that when price comes down into institutional buying zones, the banks will come in and buy it. That's typically what will happen. And it doesn't matter what the news says. It doesn't matter what the circumstances are with the company. That's going to happen, okay? The vast majority of the time. SNCI came into this demand zone, and I said, how interesting is it? Bad news came out, and SMCI is in a demand zone. And somebody on Twitter was like, oh, well, they're going to be delisted, and they're not doing this and that, and so why would you even think about it going higher? Because it's not what I think. It's what the banks are going to do based on their buying and selling. I'm not smart enough to know what's going to happen and how to interpret the data and how to make a trading decision based off of that. There's way too much data. I'm a one-man operation. I can't be investing a whole day looking into one company. I don't have the time for it. But I know that the banks know what's going on. And I know that if they're buying and price is coming into a buying zone, then it's a good idea for me to be buying as well. SMCI came down into that. We had an emotional wick through that area. Why? Because that's retail being scared out of their positions. Massive news was coming out about SMCI being delisted. So what do you think? Everybody sold. Who do you think bought when they were selling? That's right. Big institutional investors coming down here in the $20 mark, and they brought it all the way up to 44. How about them apples? Okay? Within the span of a month and a half, they doubled their money. Beautiful, huh? Yeah. That's the market. That's how it works. So, I don't care about anything else except for if the big institutions are buying it, I'm buying it. If the big institutions are selling it, I'm selling it. That's it. Okay? That's the value for me, is that somebody else is driving the price upwards. That's where I see the value. I'm not seeing the value as oh, this is a good company. They're going to turn around. The CEO, they're going to come through. They're going to do the reporting on time. Then they're going to stay listed on the Nasdaq. I'm not doing that analysis to see its value. I'm looking at whether the banks see value in it. And if they do, then I do. Right? It goes up because they're buying. That's it. That's the market. That's why you have things go up. Why do you think real estate values are high? Because people pay money for that. People pay a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more because they want it. There's the demand. Prices go up. So this is how it works, right? This is nothing new. So Bitcoin, where's the value in that? I can't even hold Bitcoin in my hand. And I know some people say, "Oh, you could put it in a on a USB stick." No, no, no. Come on. There's no value there. The only value that there is that other people are buying it. Okay. So I wouldn't personally be touching that stuff. But anyways, I think we're good. 50 minutes long session, but I think you're set. I think you know what to expect, right? We have a lot of good stuff taking place, and markets are good. We just want to see continued buying in those markets, and if they continue to buy for the month of December, important that the market rallies this month. Very important. Watch for that. If it doesn't, there could be a whole shift of momentum to the downside. All right, folks, that's it. We covered a lot. Hope you enjoyed it. You take care of yourself, and we'll talk to you guys soon, okay? See you later.